If you're a woman over 50 who still drinks plain water every day, believing it's enough to keep your skin firm, hydrated, and youthful, I need you to pause for a moment. Because after menopause, plain water alone can no longer support collagen repair, skin firmness, or wrinkle smoothing, not because water is bad, but because something essential is missing. And today, I'm going to show you what to add to your water to change that. My name is Dr. Eliza Hart, a board-certified obstetrician and gynecologist with over 15 years of experience helping women navigate menopause hormonal shifts and the skin changes that often follow. What I see most often is this: women who drink enough water, use good skincare, and even take collagen, yet still notice their skin becoming thinner, less firm, and more wrinkled over time. After menopause, the issue is rarely water itself. It's that plain water no longer supports collagen repair, skin firmness, or wrinkle smoothing the way it once did. These processes now depend on circulation nitric oxide and whether water is paired with the right biological signals that help it deliver nutrients to the skin. Before we continue, please subscribe and tell me in the comments which country you're watching from, so I can see how far this message is reaching women around the world. And stay with me until the end, because I have a small but important surprise that can change how you use water for your skin. Now let's look at why drinking plain water after 50 is no longer enough, and what your water needs instead to start working with your body again. 1. Nitric oxide, decline after 50, the collagen delivery breakdown. To truly understand why plain water stops delivering visible results after 50, we have to look deeper than the skin itself and talk about what quietly changes inside the body during and after menopause. In my clinical experience, the most overlooked shift is not collagen loss alone, but the gradual decline of a small yet critical molecule called nitric oxide, which acts as the body's primary circulation signal. Nitric oxide tells blood vessels when to relax and open, allowing oxygen, amino acids, collagen peptides, and hydration to move efficiently from the bloodstream into the deeper layers of the skin where repair actually occurs. After menopause, as estrogen levels fall, nitric oxide production can decline significantly. This is not a cosmetic issue, and it is not something you can feel immediately, which is why so many women miss it. Blood vessels become less responsive, capillaries narrow, and circulation to the skin slows down. When this happens, collagen may still exist in the body, but it no longer arrives at the right place in the right amount. Fibroblast cells, which are responsible for producing and organizing collagen fibers, rely on adequate blood flow and oxygen to stay active. Without those signals, they gradually become less responsive, and skin repair begins to lag behind daily breakdown. This is the moment many women describe as sudden aging. Skin that once bounced back now looks flatter by morning. Fine lines linger instead of softening. The face can appear tired even after rest, and no amount of hydration seems to restore that inner firmness. This is not because the skin has failed, and it is not because a woman is doing something wrong. It is because the delivery system that once supported skin renewal is no longer functioning efficiently. When nitric oxide declines, collagen breakdown can accelerate, while repair slows, creating an imbalance that becomes visible over time. Drinking water still hydrates the body, but hydration alone cannot reopen narrowed vessels or reactivate dormant repair pathways. In other words, the issue is not how much water you drink, but whether your circulation can still carry nourishment to the skin. Once this distinction becomes clear, aging skin stops feeling mysterious or discouraging. It becomes understandable, biological, and most importantly, addressable. And this is where the conversation must shift from simply drinking water to supporting how that water moves through the body, because delivery, not intake, is what now determines whether collagen repair can truly resume. 2. Why plain water no longer works after menopause. For many women, the belief that more water equals better skin has been reinforced for decades. So when wrinkles deepen or firmness fades after 50, the instinct is often to drink even more. Yet this is exactly where frustration quietly grows, because the problem is not effort or discipline, but a biological mismatch between what the skin needs now and what plain water can actually provide. After menopause, water does not fail because it lacks purity or volume, but because the body's internal signaling has changed, and water alone no longer knows how to reach the tissues that depend on renewal. As circulation slows with declining nitric oxide, blood flow becomes less dynamic, especially to peripheral areas like the face, neck, and hands. Plain water enters the bloodstream, but without adequate vascular signaling, it remains largely a general hydrator rather than a targeted delivery tool. Skin cells in the dermis require more than moisture. They need oxygen, amino acids, minerals, and collagen components delivered consistently through open, responsive capillaries. When those capillaries remain partially constricted, hydration stays superficial, and deeper repair never fully engages. This is why so many women describe a paradoxical experience after menopause. They feel hydrated, yet their skin still looks dry, creased, or fragile. Makeup settles into lines more easily. The jawline loses definition. The skin feels thinner, not because water is missing, but because nourishment is not arriving where structure is maintained. In clinical terms, hydration without circulation support becomes maintenance, not restoration. Another important shift occurs at the cellular level. Fibroblasts depend on steady nutrient flow to maintain collagen organization and elasticity. When circulation is inconsistent, these cells slow their activity, prioritizing survival over renewal. Over time, collagen fibers become disorganized. Elasticity weakens and wrinkles become more resistant to surface care. Drinking additional plain water cannot reverse this process because water does not activate the signaling required to reopen vascular pathways or protect nitric oxide from rapid breakdown. Understanding this distinction often brings relief. Aging skin is no longer a personal failure or a mystery, but a predictable response to hormonal and circulatory change. Once you recognize that water now needs guidance, rather than quantity, the focus naturally shifts away from drinking more and toward drinking smarter. And that shift opens the door to gentle, natural ways of supporting circulation, so hydration can once again participate in collagen repair instead of simply passing through the system. 3. Ingredient number 1, Arugula powder, the nitric oxide activator. Many women overlooked. At this stage, an important question naturally arises if plain water can no longer support collagen delivery on its own. What kind of gentle support can help restore that pathway without stressing the body? One of the most underestimated answers comes not from a supplement aisle, but from a simple leafy green that works quietly at the vascular level. Arugula, sometimes called rocket leaf, contains one of the highest natural concentrations of dietary nitrates found in food, and those nitrates play a critical role in nitric oxide production after menopause. When arugula-derived nitrates enter the body, they are converted into nitric oxide through a pathway that does not rely heavily on estrogen. This is particularly important for women over 50 because estrogen-dependent nitric oxide production has already declined. Instead of forcing stimulation, arugula gently signals blood vessels to relax and open, improving microcirculation to areas that often show aging, first such as the face, neck, and hands. As circulation improves, collagen peptides oxygen and hydration can finally move more efficiently into the dermal layer where firmness and elasticity are maintained. Clinically, women who support nitric oxide this way often notice changes that feel subtle but deeply reassuring. Skin tone looks less dull. The face appears more awake in the morning rather than flat or tired. Fine lines soften not because they are filled, but because underlying tissue is receiving better nourishment. Over time, fibroblast activity becomes more consistent, allowing collagen repair to keep pace with daily breakdown instead of constantly falling behind. What makes arugula especially valuable is its gentleness. Unlike aggressive vasodilators or high-dose stimulants, it does not push the system into overdrive. Instead, it restores communication between circulation and skin, which is exactly what tends to weaken after menopause. When added in small amounts to daily water, arugula works not as a treatment, but as a biological reminder helping water move with intention rather than pass through without direction. Before we continue, let me ask you something. If you've been drinking enough water for years, but still feel your skin lacks firmness or glow type 1 in the comments, if you believe water alone is still enough after 50 type 0, your answers help me understand what women are experiencing around the world. As circulation begins to respond, however, another challenge appears. Nitric oxide is fragile, and without protection, its effects can fade quickly. This is where the next ingredient quietly strengthens what arugula starts allowing collagen delivery to last longer, instead of disappearing just as it begins to work. 4. Ingredient number 2, cocoflavanols, the silent stabilizer that helps circulation last. What many women don't realize is that activating circulation is only half of the equation, because after menopause, the real challenge is not just opening blood vessels, but keeping them responsive long enough for repair to occur. This is where results often feel inconsistent. One week, the skin looks brighter and more resilient, and the next, it seems to slip back into dullness and fragility. That pattern is rarely random. It reflects how fragile nitric oxide becomes with age and how easily its signal can fade if it is not protected. Cocoflavanols found in raw, unsweetened cocoa play a unique and often misunderstood role in this process. They do not aggressively stimulate blood flow, and they do not act like quick cosmetic boosters. Instead, they support the inner lining of blood vessels, known as the endothelium, which is responsible for maintaining smooth, flexible circulation. When endothelial function improves, nitric oxide is not only produced more effectively, but it also remains active longer, allowing circulation to stay open rather than closing prematurely. For the skin, this distinction matters deeply. Collagen repair and elasticity are not instant events. They require sustained delivery of oxygen, amino acids, and hydration over time. Cocoflavanols help create that continuity. As blood flow becomes steadier, fibroblast cells receive a more reliable supply of the resources they need to organize collagen fibers properly. Over weeks, this can translate into skin that feels denser, more resilient, and less prone to creasing, particularly around the eyes, mouth, and jawline. Another benefit that often goes unnoticed is how cocoflavanols reduce oxidative stress within the vascular system. After menopause, increased oxidative pressure can damage nitric oxide before it has a chance to do its work. By neutralizing that stress, cocoflavanols quietly preserve the signaling that keeps circulation alive. Women frequently describe the result not as dramatic change, but as stability. Skin looks calmer. Tone appears more even. Improvements once achieved feel easier to maintain rather than constantly slipping away. What makes this ingredient especially fitting for mature skin is its restraint. It does not force the body into action or create sharp fluctuations. Instead, it supports balance, helping circulation remain open and cooperative with daily hydration. In that sense, cocoflavanols do not replace what arugula begins. They reinforce it, ensuring that once collagen delivery starts moving, it does not stall halfway through the journey. And with that stability in place, the skin becomes ready for the next level of support, one that focuses on repairing the very pathways collagen must travel through. 5. Ingredient number 3, aged garlic extract, repairing the pathways collagen must travel. At a certain point after menopause, even when circulation is activated and stabilized, progress can still feel slower than expected, as if something along the route is resisting flow. This is often the moment women say their skin improves briefly, but never quite holds on to those gains. From a medical perspective, this is not surprising because years of hormonal decline do not only affect blood flow signals, they also change the condition of the blood vessels themselves. When the vascular lining becomes stiff, inflamed, or fragile, collagen delivery struggles, no matter how well nitric oxide is supported. Aged garlic extract addresses this deeper layer of the problem. Unlike raw garlic, which can be harsh and inconsistent, aged garlic undergoes a natural process that concentrates sulfur-containing compounds known to support vascular health. These compounds help reduce low-grade inflammation within the endothelium, the delicate inner lining of blood vessels that determines how smoothly blood can move. When endothelial health improves, vessels become more elastic and responsive, allowing circulation to flow with less resistance toward peripheral tissues, like the face and neck. For the skin, this shift is subtle but powerful. Improved vascular integrity means oxygen and collagen-building nutrients are not only delivered more consistently, but also distributed more evenly. Areas that often look hollow or fatigued, such as under the eyes or along the jawline, begin to receive steadier nourishment. Over time, fibroblast cells respond more predictably, producing collagen fibers that are better organized and less prone to rapid breakdown. The skin may not suddenly look younger, but it begins to feel more supported, less fragile, and more capable of recovery after daily stress. Another important role of aged garlic extract lies in how it supports circulation without overstimulation. Many women after 50 are sensitive to anything that feels too activating, whether it affects sleep, blood pressure, or overall comfort. Aged garlic works quietly, improving vessel function rather than forcing dilation. This makes it particularly suitable for mature bodies that need repair, not pressure. In clinical settings, women with cold hands, pale facial tone, or sluggish circulation often respond well to this type of gentle vascular support. As these pathways strengthen, the body becomes better equipped to use the signals created by nitric oxide and the stability provided by flavonols. Collagen delivery stops feeling intermittent and starts to feel reliable. And when reliability returns, the skin finally has the conditions it needs to rebuild at a pace that feels steady rather than discouraging. With the pathways restored, the next question becomes how to enhance the signal that tells collagen where to go once circulation is open, a role fulfilled by a different kind of support altogether. 6. Ingredient number 4, low-dose L-arginine, the signal that guides collagen where it's needed. Even when blood vessels are open and structurally healthy, collagen repair can remain inefficient if the body lacks a clear biochemical signal to direct nutrients toward the skin with intention. This distinction is often overlooked because circulation alone does not guarantee precision or prioritization. In mature physiology, especially after menopause, the body becomes more conservative, with resource allocation, instinctively protecting vital organs before peripheral tissues, like the skin, unless a clear signal indicates regenerative need. L-arginine is an amino acid the body uses to produce nitric oxide, but its true value after 50 lies in how it refines delivery rather than forcing stimulation. When provided in low food-based amounts, L-arginine strengthens the communication loop between blood flow, tissue demand, and cellular repair signals. It helps nitric oxide act locally and efficiently, guiding collagen peptides, oxygen, and amino acids toward fibroblast cells, instead of allowing them to disperse randomly through circulation without purpose. From a clinical perspective, this explains why some women feel they are nourishing themselves well, yet still notice that their skin cannot hold structure or recover evenly. Without adequate signaling, collagen arrives inconsistently. Fibroblasts respond unpredictably, and repair remains fragmented. Low-dose L-arginine helps restore signaling clarity at the cellular level. Fibroblasts begin to respond more reliably, collagen fibers are organized with greater coherence, and skin gradually regains internal support rather than relying on surface tightness or temporary plumping. What matters most here is restraint and biological compatibility. High doses of isolated L-arginine can feel overstimulating, disrupt sleep, or place unnecessary stress on sensitive systems. In contrast, small amounts derived from food sources work in harmony with existing circulation, reinforcing what has already been opened and stabilized by earlier support. The result is not a surge, but a steady guidance system that helps the skin use available resources more intelligently over time. Women often describe this shift not as a dramatic transformation, but as improved resilience and predictability. Skin feels less collapsible during fatigue. Makeup settles more consistently, and fine lines appear less reactive to dehydration or stress. These changes signal that collagen delivery is becoming intentional rather than accidental. Once that signaling pathway is restored, however, one final vulnerability remains: collagen that finally reaches the skin must be protected from premature breakdown, especially in an environment shaped by oxidative stress and hormonal change. Addressing that final layer of protection is where the next form of support becomes essential. 7. Ingredient number 5, red grape polyphenols, preserving collagen. Once repair finally begins, there is a quiet but critical moment in skin recovery after 50 that many women never reach, not because they lack effort, but because progress dissolves as quickly as it appears. Skin begins to look better, then slips back. Fine lines soften, then return. This cycle is deeply discouraging, and biologically, it often points to one overlooked issue: collagen that finally reaches the skin is being broken down faster than it can be preserved. At this stage, the problem is no longer delivery alone, but protection. Red grape polyphenols, particularly those found in the skins of red grapes, address this final vulnerability with remarkable precision. Rather than stimulating circulation or increasing collagen production directly, these compounds work by reducing oxidative stress within the skin and the vascular system. After menopause, oxidative pressure rises significantly, accelerating the activity of enzymes that degrade collagen fibers. When these enzymes remain unchecked, even newly delivered collagen becomes fragile, disorganized, and short-lived. By neutralizing excess oxidative stress, red grape polyphenols help slow the activity of collagen-degrading enzymes and protect fibroblast cells from chronic inflammatory signaling. This creates a more stable environment in which collagen fibers can mature, align properly, and remain intact longer. Clinically, this often translates into skin that holds improvements instead of losing them. Texture becomes more even. Fine lines stop deepening as quickly. The skin appears calmer, less reactive, and more resilient to daily stressors, such as poor sleep temperature changes or mild dehydration. What distinguishes this ingredient from many others is its restraint. Red grape polyphenols do not force visible change, and they do not create dramatic short-term effects. Instead, they support longevity. Women often describe the result as a sense of steadiness, where their skin no longer feels like it is constantly slipping backward. Improvements once achieved feel easier to maintain, and the face begins to look more consistent from day to day rather than unpredictable. This layer of protection is especially important because collagen repair is not a single event, but a process that unfolds over weeks and months. Without preservation, delivery efforts lose impact. With preservation, the body can finally build upon what it restores. When circulation is supported, signaling is clear, pathways are healthy, and collagen is protected, the skin is no longer fighting against itself. At that point, something subtle but powerful happens. Aging stops feeling chaotic and starts to feel cooperative. The skin responds not because it is being pushed, but because the biological conditions for repair are finally aligned. And when those conditions come together, hydration, nourishment, and collagen begin working as a system, rather than isolated efforts, setting the stage for lasting firmness, smoother texture, and a calmer, more confident reflection in the mirror. At this stage of life, supporting your skin is no longer about doing more, but about doing what truly works with your body. When circulation is restored, signals are clear. Pathways are healthy and collagen is protected. Hydration finally becomes effective again instead of superficial. Plain water is not the enemy. It simply needs guidance. By gently supporting how water moves and delivers nourishment, you allow firmness, elasticity, and smoother texture to return gradually without pressure or extremes. If the guidance shared here has brought you clarity or reassurance, and you feel it supports your journey, a small donation would help this channel continue creating thoughtful, science-based content for women around the world. Your support truly makes a difference. Please like this video, share it with someone who may need it, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for spending your time with me and for trusting this space as part of your health journey.